John, the whole area of retail is of interest, I think, to farmers, partly because we don't all understand how it works, and partly because there is an interest, I think, on a lot of producers' part to move closer to it. What advice would you have for someone considering moving up the value chain a little bit if they were going to create a higher value product?
Well, that's a really interesting question, because typically what we've found is that the producer doesn't necessarily look at the retailer in terms of the strategies they're using to go to market.
Really?
So each retailer that's in the consumer market today, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you're going to market in a very different way. And so if I was a producer or a processor or anybody with any product to sell into the retail system, before I ever approached one of those companies, I would spend a great deal of time researching the companies and what their strategy is in the market. Then I would determine if I had a product that was appropriate to them. You see, they have a different strategy to go to market, but they also need some support in going to that market, to making that strategy work. They need to go to market and say, I've got something different for you, the consumer, something that nobody else has that's consistent with my strategy. So if you come into my store, which is a store that provides a higher level of service in this particular area, for example, then I now have this product that's going to help with that. In other words, I love the old term from Field of Dreams, ease their pain.
Yeah.
Help them ease their pain, help them realize their strategy. That's the key. And still today, even major companies don't spend the time looking at the strategy of each of these players in the market and then saying, how do I help them achieve their strategy? So don't go to market on each one in the same way.
So even if I'm a grain and oilseed farmer in this country, I guess primarily I produce a commodity.
Yes.
So are there opportunities for me, or am I just a commodity producer and that's what I live with? Or
if you're a commodity producer, then you are in a capitalistic system that basically goes to the lowest possible price. Yeah. And so you're enjoying a good time right now, and I suspect that time is going to continue. I'm an economist, and I've looked at long-term commodity pricing, and I like what I see for primary producers. I'm on their side. Yeah. But the work towards lowering input costs and going to market is going to continue, and people are going to continue to pay the lowest possible price. So can you get innovative in grains and oilseeds? I don't know that. I'm not an expert in that area. But if I was sitting back there saying, I want more than the lowest possible price from a retailer, I might sit back and say, how can I help this person in this market or that person in this market? For example, where did gluten-free come from? And the whole idea of rice flour. You know, and the fact that rice flour is exploding now because of this demand for gluten-free products. Obviously, anybody that's producing that is in a huge value-added situation. That's innovative. People are looking for it, and people are producing with it. So I think there's real opportunity there.
You've got so many products. Is it realistic that I could ever get a piece of shelf space for the product that I think I have, or is that just impossible?
Oh no, for sure you can get shelf space for product, particularly an innovative product, something new. The difference is this, is when you get on that shelf, regardless of how innovative the product is, regardless of how it was embraced by the company, or even on tests by consumers, if it doesn't have velocity, it can't stay on the shelf. And the reason why it can't is you have to look at a supermarket shelf as renting an apartment, okay, where each space needs to have a certain return, a certain financial return. I mean, the cost of opening the supermarkets today is very, very high. So you need a substantial return on every square foot or every square inch in the store, if you will. Mm-hmm. And that's why a new product can come on stream and acquire great shelf space and arrive with great fanfare, and then 3 months later you don't see it again. And the reason you don't see it again is because the consumer hasn't embraced it and they can't afford to maintain its shelf space. That's reality.
So you only have a short time to prove yourself. So
you have, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you do. That's a good way of putting it. Short time to prove yourself, but there are tools through which you can do that, which are really important.
And the final question is always, is there an issue here, that, especially relative to primary producers, a message to them that would help them in process change and opportunity moving forward?
Well, I love the primary producers. I've spent a lot of my career working with them and the processors and that. I continue to say one thing to them: understand that your consumer is the person buying the product at the supermarket. Your consumer is not the middleman that you're selling to. Understand who's buying at the supermarket. Produce your product for that person. That's where your success lies.
Appreciate your time.
Oh, it was great to talk to you.